Hello YouTube world, pretend farmer here. Not a real farmer, just pretending. You know, winter time is predator time. And if you got chickens, you have to be extra watchful over them during the colder winter months. Reason being, a lot of stuff that's normally out running around goes into hibernation mode. A lot of your plants die off. There's just less food out there for things to eat. You know, when you don't have as many field mice and things like that running around, a lot of times these things, being predators, will come and hunt down your chickens, mainly because they make a tasty meal. Predator number one, the canine, or dogs. Now, Samson here is very chicken friendly, but I'm gonna be honest with you, when we first got chickens, he really wanted to eat them. See what I mean? It took a lot of conditioning to get Samson to the point where he is now, where we know he's really not gonna eat a chicken. But he still thinks about it sometimes, I do believe. But you wouldn't believe how many people lose birds, whether they be chickens or turkeys, to dogs. You know, maybe it's not even your dog. Maybe your neighbor's dog gets out of the fence a lot and he's a great big old, Rottweiler or something. If you have dogs running around, make sure they're okay with your chickens. And if you're not sure, make sure you got protective fencing until you are sure. Next on the list is aerial predators, predators of the sky. And by aerial predators, I'm pretty much talking about hawks and falcons. We don't really have any problems with eagles coming along and snatching up our chickens, although I guess they could. But, most people with chickens, it boils down to hawk problems. Hawks are terrible on chickens. They'll swoop down, pick them up. It only takes a couple seconds to lose a chicken to a hawk attack. And 90% of the predator attacks we've had here on the pretend farm that have resulted in us losing chickens have been from hawk attacks. The reason being, we free range our birds here, nothing but open sky overhead. So what do you do to prevent hawks? Well, you can keep your chickens caged up all the time with overhead netting, but a lot of people like to free range their birds. They want their birds to be out and about and be happier, healthier, and that's kind of the boat we're in. So what you do is you provide them with cover, plenty of places where they can get under something. It could be as simple as just parking an old vehicle out in your yard, maybe leaving a trailer set out, or having lots of shrubbery where they can kind of duck under. Just give them places where they can kind of duck and hide in the event that a hawk should swoop over. Still not guaranteed, but their odds will be much better off. Typically, hawks attack during the daytime, and the way you'll know you've had a hawk come in is there'll be like a pile of feathers in your yard, and you'll be missing a chicken. Typically, they'll take the whole thing with them. One of the most savage predators that can visit your coop at night is the raccoon. Raccoons have razor-sharp teeth. They can chew right through chicken wire, and once they get in your coop, they will kill every single chicken if they can, only to maybe eat half of one. The way you know a raccoon attacked is if you come out and find just a complete bloodbath in your coop and all your chickens are laying around dead in the morning. Weasels can also be very savage on your chickens. Now, typically a weasel will only eat one chicken at a time, but a weasel almost shows no signs of entry because they can squeeze through the smallest of bars. Even our 14-gauge welded wire fencing that seals the perimeter, keeps anything like a coon or something from getting in, a weasel can go right through it. And weasels are almost impossible to try and even find. They're just so small, they're so crafty, and even to try and trap them or see them to kill them, they're just very, very hard to stop once you've got a weasel problem. And kind of like a mouse, a weasel can get into such a small space, you got to have a coop that's built like Fort Knox just to keep them out. The best plan to prevent a weasel attack is having a coop that has not only a good run, a good secure fence around it, but also shut the doors to it and make sure everything as far as cracks, windows, anything like that, make sure it's sealed off. Raccoons, they can't get through welded wire. So as long as you have your welded wire fence around your coop, you've stopped a raccoon from getting in. They're too fat to squeeze through small stuff. Same thing goes with a fox. Foxes like to dig under. the best way to prevent a fox from getting your chickens at night is to bury your fence that runs around your coop, so that even if they try and dig, they'll dig down several inches and they'll just keep on hitting fence. They'll go away hungry. The last one I want to mention is snakes. Snakes are not going to be as big of a problem in the wintertime because most of those, they hibernate. They're more of a problem in the summer. But snakes can get into your nest boxes because they're after the eggs. And typically, unless you got pythons or something, snakes probably aren't going to do much to harm your chickens. But the last thing you want getting in your coop is a snake, and then you reach in to grab the eggs, and you got something slithering across your hand. Now, kind of like the weasels, it's very hard to keep a snake from getting in because they can slither through some really tiny cracks. But having a coop that's elevated and raised off the ground, just like ours, it prevents them from having places to crawl up underneath and make nests and that kind of stuff. Basically, you just create an environment that's unwelcoming to snakes. Don't pile your litter very deep up in the coop. They say that having a pet goose or having some geese around, they're big deterrents to anything coming in because they're aggressive and they don't like strangers. I guess the negative side to that is most of the time people that have geese say they get attacked by their geese. So you got to ask yourself, is it worth the aggravation? Yes. You could also get a guard dog, but just make sure that it's a friendly one like Samson. Now, Samson's too fat to actually catch any kind of predators and fend them off, but we know he's not going to eat our chickens, and he at least looks, well, I don't know if you're that scary or not. All right, well, he's at least large and maybe would deter something. I don't know. Having a rooster, it really doesn't do anything in terms of protection for your flock. In the event that a hawk or something does come in, Bucky is the first one to go into hiding, and he's never actually stopped a hawk attack or any kind of attack here. He's a chicken. He's a chicken. Well, until next time, this is the Pretend Farmer reminding you keep them chickens safe, and turkeys. We wish you all a happy Thanksgiving here from the Pretend Farm. If you eat turkey, just make sure it's not pearl. Yes, we're going to keep you safe.